What is going on, guys? Got my doe out of the woods and hung up. It's sat overnight. I've always kind of wanted to do a video for you guys on how I quarter stuff up. I know there's some people, they do it, everybody does it a little bit different. Some people do it the same as me, others people don't. I know there's a lot of people out there that are first-time hunters, or maybe you've hunted for a long time but you don't necessarily know how to quarter. A lot of people just bring their deer right to processing and order everything they want, their ground, their steaks, whatever. But I'm going to show you guys how to quarter it. If you guys like the video, if we end up getting another deer, which I'd imagine with gun season coming up we should, if you guys like this video, I'll do a video on showing you guys how I break the quarters down and what process I go through when I'm butchering my deer. But today it's just going to be strictly skinning, quartering it, and getting the back straps out. I'm not going to get the inside straps out. With the shot angle, I exited the guts, and even though I cleaned the chest cavity out really good, she sat overnight with gut matter and blood in there, so I'm not going to risk it. But her rear quarters are going to be fine, her front quarters are going to be perfectly fine, and her back straps are going to be fine. So hang tight. That's all I can really say. I'll kind of walk you guys through the process, and hopefully the video won't be too long and boring for you guys. So alright guys, hopefully you can see me good. Got the old buck knife out, razor sharp. The first thing that I'm going to do before I cut anything, set that bad boy down there. It's pretty morbid, I know some people don't like this kind of stuff, but we are gonna cut the legs off here at the joint, so that way when we spin the deer around, it's not catching on the ground and whatnot. So all right, now that we got the bottom half of her legs cut off, as you can see, when I gutted, I already got this started. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to continue this cut down her chest. Then hopefully you guys can see good, but we're going to take the knife, we're going to ride it. You can literally feel it stick underneath the skin. And we're going to ride the inside of this leg all the way into the armpit. And we're going to cut straight across. We're going to cut straight across over to this cut that we just made. And then we're going to do that the same on this side. We're going to stick the knife up under the fur, push it forward, go into the armpit, and we're going to cut all the way across there. Try to get the hair out of it. But what you want it to look like is kind of like a T, and that's going to be kind of how I start this process down here. Go up, push it all the way in, up, 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 and then cut across, and you get something just like this where you can actually see the chest cavity. And then what I do up here is kind of the same process. It's the exact same process really, but I come here, make sure you have a sharp knife, ride the knife all the way up to, about here. You do not want to cut the tendon here. Once I do that, I kind of start working that skin around the leg. And I'll show you guys in 2 seconds what I got going on here. Okay, now I got some of this worked away here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife blade this way in between that tendon here and the actual leg bone. And that's how I'm going to cut the inside. Then I'm going to cut around. Make sure you get this side. It's probably going to be quite a bit of hair. She's cold. And then what you want to do is you want to go very, very careful, especially if you have a super sharp knife, around that tendon. And you want that tendon to be free of any skin, just like that, perfectly clear. And then what you're going to do is you're going to work this around. Like I said, it's really key to have a good sharp knife. And I'm going to show you on this one side, and then I'm going to do that side for the sake of speed on the video. So you got a little piece holding there. So you see how I'm working that right around. Then I'm going to come here, work that this little back flap over the butt. Be careful with that knife. Sometimes you can get her just to pull right like that. We're going to cut that little hair by the butt. And basically, that is it. And then you have a free leg. Now, I'm going to do this other side, not on video, but I'm going to do the same thing I did here. And when we get to this tail, I'll show you guys what to do. Alright guys, well, I got my side looking like your side. So now we got this tailbone. And a lot of the times what I do is I just pull it, and just if you pull down, it separates the cartilage and bone, and you could rock your knife right through it just like I just did. You literally pull back, pressure, put your knife on it, rock it, and it'll go right through just like that. Now with the body portion, what we're going to do here is we are going to slowly work the skin down. We're slowly going to work the skin down here. Almost like you're peeling it like a sock. When you do the gutting portion, and I went a little further than normal, but when you do the gutting portion, this side's pretty much all done already. You're just taking the skin and fur and everything around and down. And when I get closer to the shoulders, I'll show you how to do that portion as well, obviously. But all I'm gonna do is continue to keep working this meat down, and periodically remember to sharpen your knife, folks, because as you go you'll notice it's getting a little duller. This hair really dulls a knife up, even if it's a good knife. If you're cutting through a lot of hair and stuff, just keep it sharp. So I'm gonna do that quick, and then I'll see you guys in a second. As well, oh, you gotta make sure we don't get hair on there. If you can try. I usually have one hand set for grabbing, one hand for cutting, but I got that skin to the shoulders. You guys can see this is, we're at the leg now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep working this skin down and try to work it right over the top of the shoulders if you can. You're gonna have to play with it a little bit because there's this connective muscle that kind of goes over, but you can see the leg ends here, and this is that shoulder, that's that front quarter right there. So you just want to work this skin. See how this was peeling over and grabbing, and as I cut, now I'm down to the actual leg itself, and we are going to cut around this leg really nice, like kind of the same concept as everything else that we've done so far, is just working it almost like you're taking the deer's jacket off, per se, if that's how you want to go about looking at it. But just keep working that down. You know, you can see we're at the leg, so we're gonna work this meat around the leg bone, just like that. And then the inside here, what I do is just grab this and I cut it down. Cut it down, cut it down. You could go straight like that, right down the neck. Hopefully you guys can see this good. It is the garage lighting, but once you get that meat worked around the leg, you're gonna free up that shoulder, and this meat, or this fur, is gonna drop down to the neck, and you'll see in a second what I mean. Like I said, we're just working the skin around the leg. Sometimes I'll even pop my finger through like that. Pull. See how it just peels right off? Yep, now you got that skin down to the neck. And if you want that neck roast, some people do, some people don't. What I do, take my knife, cut right down the deer's throat, keep working that all the way down, keep working that skin down all the way till you get to the base of the jaw. And then what I do is I just grab this knife and I go around the whole entire head. And then take the Sawzall, cut right at the base of the head here, and that's your neck roast. It's a smaller doe, so don't judge me too bad. But I'm gonna get the head cut off so you don't have to see that, and then I'll get you guys back on. All right, guys, we're back. The little girl's head's off. Rest in peace, honey. thank you for all that you're offering us. I'll leave this here. But now we have the deer skinned, 100% skinned. So what I have here is I have 3 bags lined out. I'm gonna do both front quarters. So both of these are your front quarters. I'm gonna do both front quarters in a bag, and then do both rear quarters in a bag. And then I'll show you guys, once I get the front quarters off, how I get the tenderloins. I'll probably crank this up a little bit so I'm not working so low. But the front quarters are super easy to get out. Get you a garbage bag, non-scented. Remember, that is important, non-scented. Just regular old trash bags. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get down here, you're gonna grab the deer's quarter, and you're going to cut in the armpit. And you're gonna literally be able to just peel that thing right off like that. And then you got your trash bag. Put that bad boy in there. I'll try not to leave that on the floor. I'll just set it on the box. We're gonna spin her around. If you see hair, try to pull it off and get it off the deer. But if not, you can always use a blowtorch, like a propane or a MAP gas blowtorch, to get the hair off. And it actually works good. Doesn't affect the smell or anything. But like I said, you're just gonna go up in the armpit and you're gonna work that knife around just like that. Boom. You got both front quarters off. And then what I do with the Sawzall is I go right here, and usually like I'm doing now, take my knife, work it around. It's not a huge roast, but it's meat. So we're gonna take a Sawzall, and I'm not gonna do it on video, but we're gonna cut right through the spine, basically where the neck meets the chest cavity. So I'm gonna do that and get this neck roast off and put in that bag. And then I'll show you guys how to get them tenderloins out. These bad boys right here. Alrighty, you got the neck roast, both front legs in here. Try to get that to lay down good so it doesn't poke holes in your bag. You don't want water on your deer meat, even though some people don't care. I do. So that's good. Now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna lift this deer up right like that, and I'm going to throw that out of my way. But now we have the deer up higher. Got our knife, and now I'm no professional butcher, but what I normally do is, you can see how the leg wraps around, and what I do is I push my knife in here and I cut around. Do the same on this side, and you can see you got the spine right here. And what I do is I'll run my knife tip down the length of it, and what that does, it allows you to get this layer of fat and sinew off. And I like doing that. It's not super necessary, but I like doing that because it shows you where to cut. And if you don't know where to cut, it's hindering you. I know where to cut because I've butchered deer, but this is how I started. I just work this back to the edge of the rib cage, like that. Then you can see, if you grab here, this is the edge of the tenderloin. So what I do is cut this little piece of cartilage or fat and meat off. Now, I run my knife, and you'll feel it. You push, you'll feel it hitting that spine. And if you see, this tenderloin is already coming up. Once you get rid of all this protective stuff, it almost peels right up. So we're going to take our knife, go down, right to the edge of the rib cage there. I know you can see the rib cage. You're going to go right down and follow that rib cage. Sometimes you get a little, you miss a little, but we're going to try to get as much as we can. Look at that. You run your knife down. There's your tenderloin. Now, I messed up. Should have had a bag ready. Get your tenderloin in the bag. Set your bag down on the cleanest spot of your little box or whatever you got, keeping your deer blood from getting on the floor. And we're going to do the same to this side. We're going to take that knife, and we're going to cut kind of like that. And like I said, that allows you to get in there, get a finger in there between that layer of fat and the actual tenderloin. Keep working this fat down. A lot of, like I'm doing here, a lot of times you can just reach your hand in and work it down and it'll rip right out. And like I said before, you can almost reach right in there like I'm doing right here. It's called the tenderloin for a reason. And what we're gonna do is take our knife again, right down that spine. Work it down, work it down, work it down. Basically to where the base of the neck was. And sometimes you can pull that bad boy right out. Now we got our bag with our tenderloins in it. Beautiful, beautiful loins. As you can see, we didn't miss much. And usually I would get rib meat, but as you can see right here, that's where I exited. Got a little bit of the guts, so I'm not going to get any rib meat. So to me, this bottom portion is done unless you wanted to get any of this for scrap. I don't do too much with it because, again, it's right on the chest cavity. This stuff you could take off for scrap if you really wanted to, but I don't mess with it. So this next step, what we do is I take my knife and I cut on each side right here, all the way down till you can feel your knife hit bone. You spin it around, finish the cut on the back side, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Sawzall and I'm gonna cut this bottom part off, and I'll have nothing but the legs hanging there. So stay tuned. I'm gonna get this cut and I'll bring you back. All right, folks. Well, now we just got the rear quarters. Again, if you see any big tufts of hair and if you can get them off, get them off. So what I normally do with the rear quarters is spin this around, cut in here, and we're gonna look for the hip bone. And when I find it, I'll show you. But I kind of cut down and around, and you can feel the hip. So you can see right here, hopefully on this GoPro, there's a hip bone. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take that knife into that hip bone. As soon as I get it cut, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. You can kind of hear it popping. You can see this is the ball of the hip right here. You're trying to get in and around that ball and cut the cartilage and connective tissue. Now you see that it's completely separated. That's where the ball of the hip goes in. And what I do when I do that, well, you know what? I'm going to actually skip that part and make this easier for you. I'm going to remove this piece of fat. It's on there. We're going to do the same on this side. You can see where this hip bone is. It's right here. So we're going to go down, in, and around. So we can see that hip bone's right here. Right there. We're going to get our knife in there. Just like we did this side. What you're going to do is you're going to get your knife in and you're going to kind of angle it back into the quarter. And you'll be able to disconnect that cartilage and connective tissue. Then what I do is I take my knife and I work it right down the edge of the hip. Past that hip bone. See how that's separated? Go this, go all the way down. Follow that connective tissue, meat, bones. See, we just got to go around this. Let it swing. It'll hold itself up from the gramble. And that's it. That's the hip bone. Then you have your two rear quarters. Now off video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these off one at a time. And when you pull them off, if you do it slowly, I'll show you, and you do it slow, your gramble will still hold that up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bag that, again, I should have already had opened. Lay it down, and I'm going to take my Sawzall. I'm going to cut the legs off. Alrighty folks, well, I'm cleaning up, getting the broom out, sweeping up hair. I don't know if you guys can see from the angle, but got rid of the box. Got rid of everything all in one contractor bag, and we'll go out to our family property and dispose of all that stuff. Probably tomorrow or the next day. But that's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.